Hello, happy Thursday. I have another quick review for you this week. Today I want to talk about Monica Sabolo's All This Has Nothing to Do With Me. This was sent to me by Pan Macmillan a few months ago with loads of other books, and I was immediately drawn to the cover because I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's just really me, but somehow I didn't end up picking this up to read until a few days ago, and it's very short. It's just about 150 pages long, but a lot of the pages are photo pages, and so obviously they don't really count for reading time. This was originally published in France in 2013, I think, in French in France. The author, Monica Sabolo, lives in Paris. I'm not sure if she's French, but she probably is. And All This Has Nothing to Do With Me is a documentation of a relationship, or more specifically, a breakup. I started reading this and I got about 20 pages in and I thought, oh my god, this is like the book version of Amelie. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Amelie, but it's one of my favourites. I really love it. I just thought immediately, like, the Parisian French kind of setting and the type of humour and irony and style that was being used. I was like, this is Amelie. I'm going to compare it to Amelie in my review and I'm going to be so original, and it's such a perfect description. And then I turned it over and on the back cover it says Bridget Jones meets Amelie. So there's no such thing as an original thought. Anyway, it's still a very useful comparison, but it's not a particularly unique one. Though this is a work of fiction, I suppose, the main character is called MS, or sometimes Monica, and so we're to believe that the narrator is the author, and whether this is autobiographical or semi-autobiographical, I'm not really sure. Anyway, MS falls in love with XX, who she hires in a job interview. She's very attracted to him, and you realise that they have, started a relationship together, and you realise shortly after that relationship is ending. But the form this book takes isn't like a normal beginning, middle, end. It's told in strange little asides about how the Titanic was always destined to sink. It's told in quoted emails and quoted text messages. That's an airplane. And then you have these lovely black and white photo pages, and sometimes they're just pictures of sort of random objects. And I think well, at least 20-30 years ago, I think when a relationship ends, what you're left with is these kind of fragments. You don't have a perfect narrative beginning to end, remembering every single conversation. You have objects and things that sort of remind you of that person. And so I really like this cigarette butts and pictures of old books and cardigans and things like that, because I think it's how a relationship is documented, or at least how it used to be before the days of iMessages and Facebook messages and emails and Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook. The language, like I said, there's humour there, and it's also very sort of packed. There's some really beautiful sentences. One of the chapters opens, "We can reflect on deeper existential reasons for the loving one's persistent affection for the loved one. We have seen that romantic combat that aims for the victory of emotion over reason constitutes a powerful driving force, but it is a combination of factors that guarantees the longevity of this relationship and offers the loving one the appealing possibility of completely ruining her life and ending her days dishevelled." So you can kind of tell that the style isn't really like boy meets girl, this happens. And it is very funny. There's a section where MS decides to email Facebook and basically says, "Dear Facebook, is there any way that someone who I'm not Facebook friends with can find out how many times I've been on their profile in a day?" And it's irrational and it's scatty, and it gets really quite sad and quite dark in places as MS sort of flashes back to her youth and tries to find out why she is this way in love and in life. I'm probably going to reread this at some point just to get a little deeper into it, because I did read it quite quickly and just kind of enjoyed the aesthetic and how the words looked on page. So I'll probably want to get a little deeper and reread it, but it was lovely. I finished it and it was one of those books where I wish that I'd written it, because I just think it's clever and original and sad and full of feelings, and I really like that. But I was surprised. I looked up some of the reviews of this book and some of them are just kind of not very positive. Perhaps it's a bit hit and miss with the form. If you like your stories to tell a story beginning, middle and end, then this is not the book for you. But if you like movies like Amelie and the works of Wes Anderson and Parisian love affairs, then I really think you'll like this little book. This is All This Has Nothing to Do With Me by Monica Sabolo. I hope I'm saying that right. I will put a link in the description. That's all I've got to say. Let me know if you've seen this or read this, particularly if you're French and if you've read this in French, because it has been out there for a couple of years. Cool, I am jetting off this weekend. I'm going to Southeast Asia and then I'm going to Australia and New Zealand with Dodie and Bri. We're all going on tour. It's going to be lovely. So if you want tickets or more information about any of those places, you can check the description as well. Thank you very much for watching, and bonsoir. Au revoir. This is The Girl in the Train by Paula Hawkins. This was released in January this year and it's been doing really, really well in the UK at least. I can't go anywhere without seeing this book.